We're doing the Halakha Psuka for Monday, Parashat Nitzvaim. שלושה בני אדם שבאו משלוש חבורות של שלושה אינן רשאים להחלק. If three people come from three different groups of three each, and now they want to be together, they're not allowed to separate and each one of them do Birkat Mazon separately. Even though they ate among three different groups, when they come together and they sit together now, they should do Zimun together. They should do the Zimun, all three of them. ואם כבר זימן כל אחד ואחד מהן בחבורה שלו, but if each one of these three people was already included in the Zimun that they did in his own group, רשאים לחלק, then they're allowed to each one say Birkat HaMazon individually. That could be, let's say, you have three groups, and the groups did Zimun, and one of them did not finish eating yet, right? But he heard the Zimun already. And then he didn't do Birkat HaMazon yet. And each one of these, from these three groups, join together now, and they sit together. Since each of them already heard Zimun, then they have no longer obligation to do Zimun, and each one can do Bracha separately. שכבר זימנו עליהם. שלושה שישבו לאכול פת, אף על פי שכל אחד ואחד אוכל משלו. If three people sat down to eat together, even though each one has his own meal, they're not sharing the same meal. It's not like they're sitting and everybody is having the meal of the same Baal Habayit, let's say. No, each one, let's say at work, brought his own sandwich bag, and they're sitting at the same place and they're together, but each one is eating from his own food. Still, enam rasha'in lechalek, they're not allowed to divide up and each say Birkat HaMazon individually. Since there were three people, they should do Zimun and do Birkat HaMazon together with Zimun. שתי חבורות שאוכלים בבית אחד, if there were two groups of people that were eating within the same house, בזמן שמקצתן רואים אלו את אלו, when some of them see some of the other group. Let's say they were sitting in two separate rooms and only part of them could see part of the other group. מצטרפים לזימון אחד, they can still join and say zimun together, both groups. ואם לאו, however, if there is no visibility for any part of the group of any part of the other group, none of this group can see any one of the other group, in such a case, אלו מזמנין לעצמן ואלו מזמנין לעצמן. Then each separate group does the zimun individually, by themselves, each group separately. ואם יש שמש אחד ביניהם, שהוא הולך ומשמש מחבורה זו לחבורה זו. But if they have a waiter that goes back and forth between the two groups, מצטרפים לזימון אחד אף על פי שאין מקצת אלו רואים את אלו. Then they join together in a zimun, even if none of this group can see none of the other group. Why? Since there was a waiter that was going back and forth between the two groups, he makes them into being one group together for the purpose of zimun. אף על פי שאין מקצת אלו רואים את אלו, והוא שישמעו שתיהם כל דברי המברך בביאור. However, we still have a requirement. Even though the waiter makes them into one group, even though they cannot see each other, we have still one criterion that we must have in place, which is both groups must be able to hear clearly the words of the person who does the zimun. It's not that he's just faint there, you have to hear it very clearly. When they hear it very clearly, let's say in this room here, for instance, if one group is sitting here, another group is sitting in the other room there in the social hall, and there's a waiter that goes back and forth, even though we cannot see each other, but there is the waiter there, if we can hear clearly the voice of the person who does zimun on the other side of, in the other room, then we could join together in a zimun. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.